Okay, next up is team number 6. Starting off with their appetizer, which is an orange fennel salad. The combination of orange and fennel is fantastic. The sweetness goes together very nicely. The surprise component here was the addition of salmon, which does not appear in the menu. And so on one hand, I think it'd be prudent to mention the salmon in the menu. But on the other hand, the salmon went very nicely with the orange and the fennel. The acidity balance is very nice. The fattiness of the salmon coupled with the citrus notes and the acidity from the blood orange. The salmon doneness was right on, just perfectly done. And also in terms of seasonality, the blood orange as a component was very tasteful. On the entree, the lamb was front and center. And so first off, the lamb was perfectly cooked at a medium rare, very, very nicely done on the lamb. The couscous component was very tasty. That filling with the spinach and the feta added a nice bit of moisture. The couscous itself was right on the cusp of being perhaps a little bit overdone in terms of the moisture content. To back off on the moisture a bit so you have a slightly fluffier couscous would be ideal, but I also understand that you molded your couscous and it makes it a little bit easier to mold if it's got a little bit more moisture in it. So there's maybe two sides of that to that decision process. So I'll let you run with your plate design that you submitted today. For the lamb, add a little bit more sauce to the plate. I think getting a little bit more flavor, a little bit more moisture on that component would be appropriate. And then looking at the veg component, the acorn squash with sautéed spinach or the wilted spinach. The acorn squash was just slightly underdone, a little bit too much al dente-ness. And then also bring up those flavors with the addition of a little bit more salt. So just a little bit more seasoning. And last up is the dessert, labeled as Greek donut holes with the raspberry sauce. And the first impression that came to mind for me was, what makes this Greek? I didn't notice any distinguishing factors that really set it off as being Greek. So consider what kind of a garnish or what sort of flavoring element might tie that in with that theme that you've created. Otherwise the plate design was a little bit on the simple side. And I think to work on the croquembouche sort of a design that you have in mind here would be nice. For example, avoid putting a piping of chantilly right on top, which hides the donut holes that you're trying to show off, that you're advertising on the menu. And also the chantilly itself could use a little bit more stabilizer. By the time we had a chance to look at it, they were looking a little droopy, a little bit sad. And so again, a little bit of stiffness, a little bit of stabilizer will keep those sharp edges coming through on that star tip that you used on that garnish. And to wrap things up on that component, perhaps get that raspberry sauce up off of the plate and drizzle the donut holes to bring out some color, a little bit up closer visually to the consumer. And I think that'll heighten the edges that you have on that mini croquembouche. But otherwise, I think a very nice start, very nice idea that you have on the plate.